Have you ever noticed how people seemingly just come into your life out of nowhere, like out of thin air, kind of like you're living in a play? And sometimes they stay in your life for just mere seconds, and others stay in your life for much longer than maybe you want them to. Why does this happen? This is Ryan Talks, and let's get into it. So this is my take on this. The older I get, the more it seems to me that people seemingly just pop in out of nowhere. And you know, I've had a strange experiences in my life, and I have met some people who have been in they call them NDEers, or near-death experiencers, and they say when they're out, or actually I've talked to two people also who have been in surgeries, and they kind of float out, and they go towards the light or whatever, and they say that these people, it's like they're watching a play. Like people just come in and out of your life, kind of like, you're standing behind the curtain waiting just to get pushed onto the stage. And I think this is true with more than just people, but it's weird how it happens, and it's weird how people react to this. And I think that's the brunt of this video. How do you react? Do you grab them like you got sand in your hand, and they just kind of fizzle out and they come out, and like the tighter you try to hold sand, or something that pops out of your hands, the less that you can actually hold it. Or you kind of nurture it and just let them be who they are, and see where it goes from there. This could be a romantic relationship, this could be a business relationship, this could be a family member. I mean, this could be anything. You ever notice how you're thinking about it, somebody that you haven't talked to in forever, and they call you, or they text or message you, or they DM you or email, if people still do that, I don't know. And you wonder, like, why did this happen? Like, what made this happen? Why did the thought create them contacting me? Did them wanting to contact me create the thought? What's behind this? And the more you analyze it, the more it just kind of just flows, whatever the way it is that it's supposed to. Now, I know we create some portions of our lives, and we have free will, but the free will is to kind of live out the life that we wanted to have when we came into this place. And if you don't do that, I don't think you're going to have the right people come into your play. You're going to have people come into your play that are at the energy level that you're at. So if you're at a low energy, if you hate your job, if you hate everything, you're always in terrible relationships, I don't know, somebody might beat you daily, or whatever it is, and you just keep attracting this. It's because you're in that energy space, and you aren't actually living the way you wanted to live when you actually came into this. Like I've said in a couple other videos, you have to forget who you are when you come here. Years ago, my one cousin has a bunch of kids, and her one daughter went into her other daughter's room. She was a lot smaller, so I think the one was like 3 or 4, just learning how to talk, and the other one was an infant in a crib. And she goes up to the one in the crib, and she's like, "What was God like? I've forgotten already." And it's just such a fascinating question. It's just such a fascinating thing to think that this little kid who's 3 or 4, who really probably hasn't even been spoken to about this sort of thing, already knew that she'd forgotten God. And if you've forgotten who what God was like, or who God was, you've already forgotten yourself. So you have to come in forgetting who you are in order to live out the purpose that you're here for. And I don't think anybody's purpose is to be flipping McDonald's burgers, and serving up ice cream or whatever. But maybe that's the step that you needed to take to remember who you are. Maybe you had to hate your job so much that you had to do that, or maybe you had to be in terrible relationships long enough to realize that you've had enough and you just don't want to do it anymore. I would rather be in a relationship with somebody who we were kind of on the shoestring budget, not that I want to live that way, than living this extravagant life with two people that absolutely can't stand each other. I've witnessed both ends of this, and some of the happiest people I've ever met in my life are the ones that are living on that shoestring budget, because they know that they love each other and they have each other's back. I was watching Rich Roll and his wife, I think it's Julia Plath, and they were talking about that they were going to pursue their purpose or dreams or whatever you want to call them so much that if they ended up being homeless, that was an agreeable term to them. Now, I know a lot of people in the video that I made about that said, well, there's no sense. Who wants a low life in their court or whatever? Who wants somebody that's aiming so low? And that's not aiming low. It's not aiming low to realize that you came here, in his case, to be, you know, a podcaster or somebody who interviews people. And in her case, I think she makes, you know, different vegan soaps. I forget exactly what she does. But I would rather have that. I would rather have somebody behind, you know, having my back than having this filthy rich life and everybody's miserable, because I've seen that, you know, in my family and other people, in some of the jobs I've had. These filthy rich people, they're miserable. You can see it on their face. You know, I live in a pretty decently wealthy area, and you know, you go out and you can see it. You know, they got the designer clothes on, they got these designer cars, their eyes are empty, they're always miserable, they're always complaining about something. Meanwhile, you got the homeless guy who's always happy, who's right here, who's living the better life. Maybe that person needed to be homeless in this version of them on this planet. Maybe they needed to be homeless to move in the fifth density. Maybe they needed that. And you know, Jesus talked about it would be easier to get a camel through like the back of a needle than it would be to get somebody who is obsessed with money into heaven. Because they're obsessed with money. You see this all the time, obsession with money. Like they think it's going to buy them happiness. Now, I know rich people seem to manage to coin the term, money doesn't buy you happiness. But I mean, really, if you look at these rich people's lives, they aren't exactly ideal. So these people who come into your life and these people who come into your play, let's say, using that terminology, because I think it's the easiest to understand. I think if you've ever been in a play or watched a play or you know seen pictures of it, you got a stage, which is your life, and you've got the sides of the stage with people that you can't see yet, and somebody pushes them out on stage and they perform their act, and that is the only act that they can play. But the one thing that you have no control over is them. You may have attracted them by whatever energy or whatever attraction that you have the ability to attract, or energy or frequency that you have to attract, but you don't have an ability to control them. And I think the more you try to control these people, and I come from speaking from, you know, knowing this because I've been through it on both sides. The more you try to control somebody, the more you push them away. And so if you're trying to find a relationship, or if you're trying to find a business partnership, or if you're trying to find whatever, the more needy. You know, one of the best things, I want to interlude here, one of the best things that you can actually do is just kind of laugh about it. Just kind of laugh at the situation. You know, it raises your vibration. If you're at the lowest vibration that you've ever been at, or lowest vibration that you can possibly imagine, and if you just start laughing, I mean, just start laughing. It really helps so amazingly to get a new energy into your space. You know, everything might be real serious, or everything, like you just can't believe that you keep attracting the same thing into your life. Maybe laugh about it. Maybe just have fun with it. Write down what it is that you're feeling at that moment, and make sure that you improve on that. You know, but at least laugh at it and have fun with it. You know, life's a game, life's a play. They call it playing for a reason. Enjoy it. Or more clingy you get, the more you're going to push them away. You know, I've learned this the hard way. I've met some women I thought would be absolutely perfect in my life, and I got too giddy, and I got a splinter in me. I got too giddy. You know, I got too needy. I got too clingy, and it pushed them away. You know, and I've met somebody recently, and I don't want to do that. You know, again, I want to give her space, and she gives me my space, and not the social media thing, and we just know that each other, we are there. Now it's new in the relationship, so I'm not, you know, counting my chickens before or they've hatched or whatever. But I've always noticed this. I've noticed the more you kind of just detach, the more you just detach from a situation and let it flow, the more it turns out exactly how you wanted to in the first place. You know, you have to have faith. You have to have this faith that's going to work out, and you have to just live your life. You know, if you're constantly concentrating on if they're getting back to you, or if should you contact them again, or whatever, if you haven't heard from them in a while, maybe it's just not going to happen. Maybe you just haven't attracted the right person yet. Maybe they just got busy. There's many different situations. But the more you try to control this play of your life, I think the worse it gets. And the why I say that is, I've tried over the years. Sometimes I try to control it, and sometimes I'm so tired of controlling it that I forget that I was even trying to control it in the first place. And what happens? What I originally wanted, what I originally sought out, what I originally put my attention on, what I originally had faith that would happen, happens. But it happens in its good old time. It doesn't happen on my timeline, which is annoying. Everybody's annoyed by this, right? But maybe you just weren't at the right stage for this person yet. Maybe if you would have attracted this person into your life 3 years ago, it just wouldn't have worked out because you just weren't there. You just weren't in a position to be able to handle their energy, or vice versa. Maybe they wouldn't have been in a position to be able to handle who you are. So just enjoy. It's just like watching a play. You picked a specific play, you went to the specific play because you wanted to get something out of it or you found it entertaining. And while you're watching this play, you don't control it. You know it's going to have a good ending, or an ending that's acceptable to you. So the more you watch this play, the more you live the play, the more you're in this play, the less you need to control it. And you just know, you have faith that it's going to have the perfect ending, whatever that is to you. Whether there's a business transaction, whether that's a romantic relationship, whether that's another friendship, whatever it is. But the more you control it, the more it slips away. The more you try to, you can get mad at it too. Like you can, if you're watching a play, if you're sitting in the audience and I've got these trees here, I'm sitting here and I'm going to get mad at this tree right over here because it's not, bending with the wind or something like that. It's not doing what I think it's supposed to do. It just is. And the more I'm over here mad at it and getting control and getting angry about it's not bending or like the other trees over here, the more I'm lowering my energy, because its energy is exactly how it needs to be, but my energy is off. So hopefully this helps you. I can repeat this over and over again, but literally it's just, I know I've heard other people say this too, and I think Dolores Cannon talked about this, but the older I get, and the more I see, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Like, I stopped talking to this woman. There's no romantic anything here. It's just friends. She got mad at me in May. She stopped talking to me, and I just figured it was over. I'm not going to try to force myself on anyone. Like, if you just don't like my energy anymore, maybe it just isn't meant to be. And she contacted me last week, a couple days ago, out of the clear blue. And it's like we start talking again, like it never even happened. It's crazy. So, in closing, I think one of the best things you can do is just come out and take a walk, or just come out and do something other than concentrate or help other people out. I think one of the best things you can do, and now you don't have to go volunteer at a soup kitchen if you don't want to. You don't have to do whatever it is too uncomfortable for you. But just volunteer something or do something for somebody. Make a video. Maybe you're really good at something and you want to make a video about it and you've always been hesitant. Maybe make that video. And maybe the person that you thought was going to be your person isn't that person anymore. And the person who might see your video might reach out to you. You just never know. You just never know how this life is going to go. All I know is it's a play. I'm just watching it. I'm watching it unfold. I think I created this play before I got here. And depending on what energies I have, what vibration that I'm at, is what play I get. So the better your play, the more you just detach from outcome. And anyway, that's it. Any comments, questions down below, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video.